After 3 episodes set mostly on the wreck of the Maginot, Alien Earth slowed things down a bit back on Neverland, the home of the Prodigy Corporation, for its 4th episode. While there was lowercase a alien action, the omnipresent xenomorph was mostly off-screen for the 4th hour. And because of this, and at least 4 more aspects of the episode we can think of, observation is a real litmus test for whether or not you should keep watching the FX and Hulu series.
This creature is highly intelligent.
Specifically, if you were on the fence about lore changes to the Alien franchise or the whole idea of focusing on synth-human hybrids or any parts of the show that weren't based on designs by H.R. Giger, you might be feeling some reservations right now. We get it. We hear you. A lot like Wendy's hearing the xenomorphs chittering language. More on that in a second. So, what we've done is broken down 5 potentially divisive plot points from the episode below and given reasons why you should bail and reasons why you should keep watching. Think of it as whether you should head to the escape pod or stick your face just a little further over the alien egg to see what's going on. Nice and close. Yeah, there you go. We've gotten some hints about this in previous episodes, but this one confirms it. Wendy is not just hearing the xenomorphs, she's able to understand their language. They sound
like bugs rubbing their legs together,
she says. And by the end of the episode, Wendy is speaking xenomorph and hanging out with a newborn, charming it like a snake. Hey, xenomorphs don't do that. While there's never been a movie in the franchise that says xenomorphs can't talk, or play basketball for that matter,
you got some moves on you, girl.
The general implication has always been that while they're pretty good about sneaking around humans so they can rip them apart, they're mostly just the perfect killer, and their interests include killing, and killing in that order. If there is one type of xenomorph that is more advanced, it is a queen. But when James Cameron introduced the queen in Aliens, the implication, which has borne its way through multiple movies in the franchise, is that the xenomorphs are more of a hive mind, with the queen as the singular intelligence and the regular xenomorphs as drones. But this sort of evolution of the xenomorph into singular beings with wants and needs diminishes the sheer terror of them as unstoppable killing machines. Not to mention speech, even of the clicking variety, would be very tough given the xenomorph physiology. Their quote-unquote lips move a bit, but they have tiny little heads inside of their mouths instead of tongues, and don't have a lot of the facial movement necessary for actual language. Perhaps this is some sort of telepathy or pheromone communication going on between them, but it's hard to imagine based on decades of movies that they've been talking out loud this whole time. If Alien Earth has this much disrespect for decades of horror, what's next? A xenomorph tea party? Oh, rumph. Conversely, and we'll be reiterating this a lot, we're just getting started with this plotline. There are a lot of questions that need to be answered here, not least of which is how Wendy is the only hybrid who can communicate and hear the xenomorphs.
Curly, did you hear anything?
There's the question of their language, of course, and what it means. But this is unlike anything we've seen in the franchise before, and that's pretty exciting. Well, actually, it's also not exactly true. In fact, this seems to, just on the surface, be a bit of a riff on how Ripley interacted with the xenomorphs in Alien Resurrection. There, she was cloned with xenomorph DNA, specifically that of a queen, and on top of the titular aliens clearly communicating with each other on some level, Ripley herself was able to sense xenomorphs and had a mental bond with the queen in particular. In addition, the newborn the queen birthed in Resurrection was capable of some human speech, though mostly of the mama variety. And now that we think about it, the half-xenomorph Ripley was very good at basketball. Because we can't knock the series for disregarding established alien mythology without also embracing even the parts of it we didn't like, you have to wait around to see where they're going with this. Maybe the tech in Wendy is somehow the same as what was used to clone Ripley 8 in Resurrection. Maybe Alien Earth will provide justice for one of the most maligned movies in the franchise. The only way you can find out is if you keep watching. Moving the action from a ship to a tropical island is a big change, not just for the TV series, but the Alien franchise in general. We've been on other planets before, but they're usually desolate and hostile. On Neverland, it wouldn't be surprising to see Tanya stumble out of the jungle.
I just want to skip all the layers and just go straight to the crazy.
Every Alien movie is built on different levels of claustrophobic tension, and characters hanging out in a tropical resort is not what we signed up for. Is it all beautiful? Sure. But slow shots of the beach or close-ups of spiders and other assorted predators in the woods is more reminiscent of the HBO hit than anything Ridley Scott would have directed. And there's a reason for that. The show was filmed in Thailand, just like the most recent season of The White Lotus. Heck, the shows even share an actor. But the point here is that watching a bunch of synths hang out and eat computer chips flavored like ice cream on a beautiful body of water seems like a different show than the one we got in the first 3 episodes.
But in the 2 minutes before you go to sleep, it becomes very nearly real. That is why there are nightlights.
Early in the episode, we hear a section from Peter Pan over shots of Neverland touting that the island in the story has adventure and danger around every corner. It is entirely possible that in between the gorgeous shots of wide open skies and lush jungles, we may discover that Prodigy's Neverland has the same. And in fact, while it is big and open, and we even take a visit with Morrow to India at one point, at several points in the episode, characters point out they're on an island.
As this is a private island, we'll have to get you on the first shuttle back home.
One that you can't easily leave without the permission of the boy genius in charge. So, in fact, this show laudably has something in common with The White Lotus. The beautiful locales and relaxing atmosphere belie the real danger lurking underneath. In this case, sure, that's the multiple invasive species that Prodigy has co-opted from Weyland-Yutani, literally beneath them in the lower levels. But there's a real goosebumps on the back of your neck feel when you realize how tightly wound everyone is at Prodigy. The alien eggs are a gun on the mantelpiece, and they're about to go off at any moment. This isn't a vacation, it's the calm before the storm.
I have good news. Such good news.
We've already got a bit of a lore tweak thanks to the inclusion of cyborgs in the universe, as well as hybrids, but alongside Wendy hearing and talking to the xenomorph as detailed above, we've also got a plotline about how Nibs is pregnant.
I'm pregnant.
What?
Overall, you could sort of blast past the ethically tricky idea of putting kid brains in adult bodies, despite Wendy's comments in the pilot about her boobs being weird.
These are weird.
But in this week's episode, Nibs declares she's pregnant, which alarms and disturbs Dame Sylvia, as it should. And then Morrow is manipulating slightly by threatening to kill his mother and brothers.
I was just talking about you. With your mother.
But it's Arthur who addresses the elephant in the room by telling his wife, Dame Sylvia, by the way, surprised they're married, that
I mean, if we did this wrong, best case, we got a bunch of AIs running around thinking that they're human. Worst case, we killed 6 kids.
show creator Noah Hawley already caused a fair bit of controversy due to a rape scene in FX's Legion. That is a different scenario, but maybe it is best to hop off this show before it goes really wrong with some potentially dicey material.
When do we get to go home?
You don't.
Wait, why are you blasting past the ethically tricky ideas? That's what drama is all about. Let's address these points one by one, starting with Nibs thinking she's pregnant. This is clearly, we're shown as much, tied into the trauma of the horrible octopus eyeball monster attacking her on the Maginot. Kids play being pregnant all the time, and the Alien series almost exclusively has been about birthing trauma. Who's to say Nibs isn't pregnant somehow? Or, alternately, dealing with the shocking transition from childhood to adulthood with the stark realization that she will never actually grow up by imagining she's pregnant. In a sense, there is a child inside of her adult body. It's just that it's her.
When do we get to go home?
As for Morrow manipulating slightly, well, Morrow's a bad guy. And his calm, deep rumble of a voice echoing in Slightly's head emphasizes that.
Well, they'll have a bad couple of days, for sure.
Also, Slightly has 24 hours to deliver an alien-infected human, so his mom and bro should be a-okay. That never goes horribly wrong. But the biggest point is what Arthur says. Are these kids dead? Boy Cavalier in the series premiere asked Wendy if she wanted to see a magic trick before she transitioned into her new body.
Do you want to see a magic trick?
So, without explanation, the show sort of waved away any questions of what was actually happening here. But as Arthur points out, and later Adam Ines tosses over to Hermit, they don't know whether the hybrids walking around actually are the kids conscious in a synth body, or just something that walks and talks like the kids would.
She thinks she's my sister.
What do you think?
They created their own sort of monster, perhaps, and we're just getting started understanding how dark this show might go. And to wrap things up, back when Legion did have David rape Sid and then erase her short-term memory, there were serious consequences for that, as a huge turning point for the series. It wasn't forgotten or let go by the series just because it was upsetting to watch. While it's TBD how well it will all be handled here, the show is challenging viewers ethically in different ways than they expect beyond, is it ethical to poke that goop on the floor until it kills me? Stick around. Let's get uncomfortable, folks. After 3 episodes where the Xenomorph showed up a surprising amount of times, ripping to shreds everything from a search and rescue crew to a French Revolution-era cosplay party, this episode barely contained the Xenomorph at all. In fact, we got more time with the Eye than the title character. Does the Eye seem cool and gross? Yup. The scene where it rips out a sheep's eyeball and subs itself in is extremely cringeworthy, but we're not here to watch the Eye Earth, this is Alien Earth, and we want the alien. A cute little snake version of the Xenomorph getting charmed by Wendy won't cut it either. So, all due respect, but the Xenomorph is often barely on screen. In the original, it's only on screen for 3 minutes and 36 seconds out of the entire 1 hour, 57-minute runtime. There are 8 whole hours of Alien Earth. It can take a little break for one of them, particularly given the carnage we witnessed in the previous 3 hours.
Are you still an employee of the Prodigy Corporation, or shall I have security remove you from the island?
While talking to Hermit about whether Wendy and company are actual hybrids or just advanced AIs, Ines explains that the hybrids are products. And if it turns out that Prodigy hasn't really invented immortality, it's
The difference between a $1 trillion business and a blanket with sleeves.
A what?
An invention that no one wanted.
Ines is clearly referring to either the Slanket, which was developed by Gary Clegg in 1988, or more likely the more popular Snuggie, which was introduced in 2008.
If you want to stay warm and cuddly, then you need to put on a Snuggie.
An invention nobody wanted? Nobody wanted the Snuggie? Ines? Really? By 2017, it had sold over 30 million blankets with sleeves and made over $500 million. Sure, that's not the trillions Boy Cavalier has made, but get out of here with that an invention no one wanted malarkey. I had a Snuggie, f*** you.
The blanket that has sleeves.
Actually, the Why You Should Bail section makes some pretty good arguments. Why bother with a show that will slander an iconic American product like the Snuggie? It's like a face hugger, but for the rest of your body, just as deadly. Let us know down in the comments if you're sticking around for the rest of Alien Earth. I know I am. And for everything else that's from another planet, be sure to like and subscribe to IGN wherever you like to watch.